Hello, welcome to another maths video by Maths with Sarah. Today we're going to be looking at this inequalities question. This is taken from an AQA GCSE maths paper. It's a non-calculated question and it's question 5, so quite near the beginning of this paper 1 exam. So as with all of these videos, I would encourage you to pause the video here, have a think about how you would tackle this question. If you can do it, fantastic. If you can't do it, or if you get stuck partway through, have a think about which steps you can do or which bits that you would be confident doing, and then come back to this video when you've had a go, and I'll talk you through it. So I'm actually going to show you 2 different methods that you can use to solve this question. Both of them give you the same answer, and it really doesn't matter which one you use, but I recognise that people will do this question in different ways. So the way that I find easiest to tackle these sorts of algebraic inequalities questions is to start by ignoring the inequality sign. So rather than this being 5x plus 3 is less than 60, we'll just set it equal to 60 for the moment, and then when we get to the end and we've got some x equals something, then we can substitute back in the inequality sign. So from here, there are 2 different methods we can use. So some of you may have started by multiplying out this bracket, and then we're expanding this bracket and then solving it from there. And if you do that, then you'll end up with 5x plus 15 equals 60. And then, as with just normally solving equations, forgetting about the fact that it's an inequality, what we do to one side, we've got to do exactly the same to the other side. So we start by subtracting 15 from each side, and that will give us 5x on this side, and that equals 45. Then the next step, we will divide both sides by 5. Remember, this is a shorthand for 5 times x. So in order to just leave x on its own, then we need to divide both sides by 5. That will give us x equals 9. And then we can substitute, put back in the inequality sign that we started with. So we get the answer of x is less than 9. And that will be your final answer. So that is a perfectly good method, perfectly good way of doing this question. There is another method that you can use, so I'm just going to quickly show you that method as well, because some of you, I realise, might have done it a slightly different way, and I actually think that this method is probably slightly easier. So if we look at this question again, we've got 5 and then in brackets x plus 3 equals 60. And again, we're going to completely forget about the inequality for now and just pop it back in at the end. And that's perfectly reasonable. It's perfectly allowed to do that. So in this case, this is the same as saying that that's 5 times the x plus 3 in the brackets. And so then I would start by dividing both sides by 5. Rather than expanding the bracket, I would just divide both sides by 5 straight away. And that would leave us with x plus 3 equals 12. And then becomes quite a straightforward algebra equation where we can just subtract 3 from both sides, and that will give us x equals 9, exactly the same as we've got when we did it using the other method. And again, we can just substitute back in the inequality sign and we get the same answer of x is less than 9. Now, both of these methods are perfectly reasonable, perfectly plausible, perfectly good ways of doing this question. It just depends which method you favour, and it really doesn't make any difference. So I'll just say that there is one exception to this rule. So removing the inequality sign and replacing it with an equal sign works 90% of the time. There is just one exception. So if you at any point had to divide x by -1, you would then have to reverse the inequality sign. but it's quite rare that you have to do that. So the majority of the time, you're absolutely fine by just ignoring the inequality sign to start with, replacing it with an equal sign, and then just popping it back in at the end when you've solved the equation for x. So I would encourage you all to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get all the videos as soon as they come out, so you can carry on practicing for your maths exam. Thank you all for watching.